All right, you can just pretend you just heard some really beautiful music. My name is Terry McGuire. I'm your Board of Trustees secretary. So I'm one of the people that if you have board questions, you can ask me. If I don't know, I'll find out for you. Announcements. On most Saturday mornings, there is yoga at 9 a.m. Check your Thursday connections that come to you via email. And if you're not getting it, please contact the office here and get put on the email list. On Sunday, August 6th, today, the RE Council will be meeting at 12 p.m. On Tuesday, the Finance Committee meets at 7 p.m. Also on Tuesday is Taco Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Zoom. The link is in the connections, and it's also sent out on each Tuesday before the actual Taco Tuesday starts. On Wednesday, the Personnel Committee meets. The Personnel Committee is only open to members of the Personnel Committee for reasons of confidentiality. However, the Personnel Committee is looking for new members. So if you're interested in that aspect of the church, please contact me or Catherine Rowley. On August 16th, the Gathering Around Grief group will also meet. Then the biggie. On August 26th, we are having a fiesta and fundraiser in honor of our beloved Ellen Livingston, our Minister Emerita. She's turning 90 years old. Something to celebrate no matter who she is. There is an invitation that looks like this in the Thursday connections. If you have questions, talk to me or Debbie Skirto, or a lot of other people are involved in this and would be able to answer questions. It is a fundraiser to benefit the church, which is quite generous of Ellen. No gifts are requested. Your donation is a gift, and the gift is to the church. We're suggesting $20, and that should cover the food and leave a bit over for a donation to the church. Please RSVP. Let someone know that you are coming so we can have a head count for the food. This can be done to Brenda in the office, or it can be done by email. And if you write a check for the donation, please put Fiesta Fundraiser in the memo line. That way we'll know where your donation should go. Similarly, if you use cash, put the cash in an envelope with your name and the purpose of the cash, which is the Fiesta Fundraiser. Again, if you have any questions, talk to me, talk to Debbie. There's probably other people you can talk to too, but we're here today and we can answer anything you want to know. Reverend Maggie has asked me to run through the upcoming services. So if you're interested in what's going to be happening in the next few weeks, this is what she has in mind. On August 13th, next Sunday, what matters most? Sounds intriguing. On August 20th, Becoming a Green Sanctuary. That service will be conducted by Laura Mulroy and the Green Sanctuary team. That's interesting to me because I'm interested in the subject to begin with, and also because I don't know exactly who's on the Green Sanctuary team. And on August 27th, the day after the fiesta, we have in-gathering with Reverend Maggie and Robert Tidwell, our Director of Lifespan Religious Education. And now I will turn it over to Reverend Maggie.
Mabuhay. Go ahead, be brave, say it. Mabuhay, mabuhay. Mabuhay is the Philippine word for sláinte in Irish, or l'chaim in Yiddish. You would say it's to life, like life is good. So let's say it again. Mabuhay. And then the response would be salamat, which is our thank you in Filipino. I'd like to offer a warm welcome to those joining us on Zoom. I can't peek on this screen to see how many of you there are, but we offer you our warm welcome here. I want you all to feel as an important part of this spiritual village that we create every Sunday morning and also throughout the week. And it is a village that is partnered with another village of Unitarian Universalists, 1/3 of the way around the earth on one of 7,641 islands at low tide of the Philippines. And it has been a long time for me to be away, and I am just so glad to be home. We open our service with the ringing of the bowl. We ring it 3 times, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Once for those who came before, the ancestors and those who have recently joined them. We ring it for the indigenous peoples who tended this land long ago, and for the founding members of our congregation, whose vision brings us here today after over 70 years. Once for those of us here and now, for all of us gathered here in the sanctuary, for those joining us online today, for our staff, our visitors, our friends and sustaining members, and our partnership congregation in the Philippines, 7,500 miles and 15 hours west, all of whom support and illumine our journey together. And once for those who will come, for all who will find safe belonging here among us and make MVUUC their spiritual home in the days just ahead. And thank you for that very pretty reminder that we should all take a moment and let's switch off the sound on our devices. I'd like to invite Janine Little up to light our chalice. I don't know if you can use this. Yeah. It is, yeah. Our time together in worship is intimately connected with our daily lives. We light our chalice flame as a symbol of that connection. Janine, can you just switch the children's chalice? Yeah. We light our chalice flames as a symbol of that connection, a symbol of our faith, a bond that represents our shared light of hope and witness. Please hear these words by Reverend Armand Pedro, administrator for the UUCP, Unitarian Universalist Church of the Philippines in Dumaguete. Armand writes, "We'd light this chalice to be reminded that despite our imperfections, we are blessed in many different ways. May our hearts and our minds always value the beauty in each one of us, knowing that we each carry a spark within. And if we collectively share our little spark, we can create a bigger light to illuminate our entire bruised and broken world. Very nice. I invite you to stand. We will recite our covenant together, and it will be followed by a singing of Spirit of Life. All of the lyrics will be, all the words will be on the screen. We affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to find hope in times of fear, and to live out our Unitarian, Universalist values every day as a beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. Everyone but Robert. It is time for our wisdom tale, and he has a special one prepared for us. I'm not sure of the title of it, but I hear it's written by Filipino children.
Yeah, four Filipinos. It's the story of our fingers. It's retold by Leopoldo Uchenko, and it's translated by Dean Fansler. It starts with a rhyme. It says, in the Philippines, a common finger rhyme goes like this. Pretty little sparrow, beautiful for a ring, long but lazy fellow, insolent thing, dumpy small one. And in the Philippine language, it rhymes, but in English, not as much. So, why does our thumb stand separate from the other fingers? That is so only in our day. In the days of long ago, the fingers of our ancestors stood together in the same position. One day, one of these fingers, the one we call little finger, became very hungry, and he asked the finger next to him to give him some food. "Oh, brother," said the ring finger in reply, "I'm hungry too, but where shall we get food?" "Heaven is merciful," put in the middle finger as he tried to comfort his two brothers. "Heaven will give us some." "But brother middle finger," protested the index finger, "what if heaven gives us no food?" "Well then," interrupted the thumb, "let us steal it." "Steal!" echoed the index finger. He was not at all pleased at this advice that he had just been given. "You know better than I do about that, I hope." "Yes, it is a bad policy," agreed the other three unanimously. "Your idea is against morality, against yourself, and against everybody here. Our conscience will not permit us to steal." "Oh, no, you are greatly mistaken, my friends," said the thumb angrily. "How can you call my plan bad policy when it can save your lives and mine?" "Well, if that is your plan," said the other four fingers, "you can go on your own way, and we will go ours. We would rather starve than steal." And then the four fingers would have nothing further to do with the thumb. So that is why we see our thumb separated from the other fingers. He wanted to be a thief, and they did not care to live with him. And because the finger we call little finger did not get enough to eat in those days, it remains small and weak right to this very day. And now, if the children present can come and get our chalice, you guys can sing us to our class, but we're going to go play with water balloons because it is hot.
That sounds like fun. Have a great time. For our church year this year, the board and the congregation has decided to share the plate offerings each Sunday. Every month we change the recipient of that organization, always a nonprofit, usually one that we're very associated with or we have a heart connection to. And for August, which is this week is our first Sunday in August, we will be shifting who our Share the Plate is shared with. And here to tell us about the new organization is Janine Little.
Thank you. I have a poem, A Book Given. Selfishly hurt my family, socially hurt myself, blindly chose the path, ignorantly a prison or death. I read, once confined, Bible for forgiveness, fiction to burn up time, fantasy to escape. Inevitably, change began. Thankfully, my interests grew. Literature for improvement, philosophy for self-knowledge. Melville, Dumas, Camus, Kierkegaard, and Sartre. Voltaire, Nietzsche, Aristotle, Plato, Dante, Cervantes. To change a life forever into the hands of a prisoner, a book is given. This poem was written by a prisoner, a recipient of literature from the Prison Library Project. This organization was founded in 1973 by Ram Dass and Bo Lozov in North Carolina, and then relocated to Claremont in 1986. It's now a major service project of the Claremont Forum. PLP's mission is to provide incarcerated individuals across the country free reading resources with an emphasis on educational and self-improvement literature. The organization receives more than 300 letters a week from inmates in 600 state and federal prisons and detention centers throughout the United States. They mail over 10,000 packages of books each year to individual inmates and send boxes of books to prison librarians, educators, and chaplains. While books can be directly donated to the Claremont Forum's bookshop in the Citrus Packing House in downtown Claremont, I was over there last week and I saw a sign no longer able to accept donations until October, so maybe hold on to those. But instead, MVUUC for our Share the Plate is focused on collecting money to help pay for that parcel postage, also to help purchase new dictionaries for inmates, and some other special request items from inmates. For example, right now there's 32 inmates in Pelican Bay who are requesting materials to study for the commercial license exam. On July 29th of this year, the Claremont Forum's Prison Library Project was awarded the Congressional Leadership Building Bridges Award by Congressperson Judy Chu. This award is given to organizations that demonstrate excellence in connecting diverse communities and tackling pressing social issues. Currently, PLP is one of the nation's largest books to prisoners programs. Its success is due to the dedication of its volunteers and the support of the local community, and that's going to be us. The positive impact of the Prison Library Project can be seen in both statistics and the testimonials of recipients. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, inmates who complete their education have a 43% lower rate of recidivism. Some thank you words from some recipients. This is from Michael. I believe he's at Chino. Thank you, Prison Library Project, for helping me and the rest of the community on the road to recovery. Books have helped me grow and understand myself better. It helps me build the maturity I need to become a productive member of society again. And this is from JD, and he's in Beaumont, Texas. The state of Texas is not an easy place to be incarcerated. Books have really kept me sane and remind me that there is kindness and love out there. You have no idea how many lives you are really saving on a daily basis. Books matter that much. So please know that our Share the Plate donation for the month of August will be used wisely and is deeply appreciated. And you'll go over how to write it? Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks.
There are several ways that we welcome your offerings. One is online through our donate button that's available in the electronic order of service. It's also on our website on the left-hand side. It's really easy to get to. Tap that button early and often. We also have these envelopes here. If you have a cash donation that can't put a memo on your cash, just use an envelope and write on the outside that it's for the Share the Plate offering. So, yeah, and all of the checks that you write, make them out to MVUUC so that they'll go on to your, they'll be able to be donated or deposited by Tracy, and then they will go on to your tax form at the end of the year as well. So as the generous caretakers of this community, we find ourselves on a road that seems a little bumpy of late, but as the winds continue to shift, as they will, we continue to give from our hearts in many ways to maintain our community's physical, spiritual, fiscal, and justice sense of well-being. Together we serve the whole to maintain our spiritual home as a place for recharging and reconnecting our souls to one another, and to be a safe refuge for those who need to find a community like ours. So thank you for your kind and generous donations that make that possible. All that we do in our care for each other is an offering toward our wholeness. And it is with grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values that our generous offerings will now be given and received. Beautiful. One thing that we enjoy here is sharing the bits of our lives with one another, the delights and the disappointments. A part of our worship is to share our joys and sorrows, our concerns, and it's maybe a time to offer a dedication for your loved ones. We do have these yellow forms that we have on the greeters table. I don't know if some of our visitors today were able to see them. I have 2 that were filled out, and there's one online here. Okay, I will get to that. Can you leave that up, please, Jaryus? Thank you. There were a couple I like to, throughout the week, when I talk to people, get their permission to share what they're going through with the congregation. So I have a few of those. But first, just a communal sigh that our USA women's soccer team lost. They're coming home. They lost to Sweden, so they're out. I know. That's everyone just go, oh. Very, very sad. I have a couple of one's just kind of a utility note, but it's important. This is a perfect use for this, Shirley. Thank you. We need a volunteer to take my place in hospitality next week while I attend Camp de Benneville retreat. Yay, I'm glad for you that you're going. So if there's anyone available that can make coffee next week, it's also our, oh, it's the Green Sanctuary Week. No, it's me. Oh yeah, it's me. I gotta be. Yeah, so. Also, from Carissa Moore, this should bring a rousing applause. Don's guitar finally arrived Friday. Yay! So, hope he's watching. I can no longer need to listen to his anxiety about not getting to play it yet. I hope it sounds exactly like he was hoping. Yeah, it's great. Also, I see one online from Bob Taylor, but I have a note here in my script as well, because Megan and I talked. She asked for our thoughts and wishes for Bob and Megan. They came back from their visit to Montana with COVID-19. Yeah, and they had a pretty rough go with it. I mean, it wasn't super easy for them, so they're still recovering from that. Bob typed a message in the chat. Maybe they're both on there, so hi. Hope you're doing okay. It says, Megan and Bob are so very grateful to have spent 2 weeks in Missoula, Montana, visiting our son and daughter-in-law. We had a great time. The only bummer was that we both brought Big Sky COVID home with us. Is that a new variant, or is he just naming it that? I don't know. We are resting and isolating and hope to attend services ASAP. Well, we send you all of our concern, our thoughts, and our love and healing hopes. And Lynn Shable is here. She sends a joy. Remembering my husband, Alan, we would have been celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary this Tuesday. Wow, Lynn. Wow, that's beautiful. This weekend also brings us to the 1-year anniversary of Dave Darrow's death. Mary will spend the weekend with their children, honoring Dave's life in many ways, eating his favorite foods and pulling his kinds of tricks on each other, sharing their memories and relishing in their love for him and for each other. So, and for that mandala that we have inside of us that is filled with joy and with sorrow. And for all of those needs in this room, in our hearts, and in the world that remain unspoken, we light our candle of hope and witness. I'd also like to offer this opportunity, as I light the candle, for anyone who would like to light a candle in silence for either a joy or concern that they have, to come forward and light it from the light in the center and stick it in the sand. This ritual is common in the Philippines, all around Manila. There's so many Catholic churches. And on the outside, they often have an area where, of course, you have to purchase the candle. We're not asking that. But they have candle lighting stations outside all of the churches there. And they're so beautiful because they're always going. And they're all at different heights. You know, it's really a beautiful. I took a couple pictures. Debbie, would you light 2 extra ones?
Absolutely.
One for Lynn, for her memory with Alan. It would have been their 50th anniversary. That's huge. And yeah, it is a golden. And one for Mary Darrow, too. Because even at 1 year of the anniversary of Dave's death is... Those are extra heavy ones. Extra heavy prayer requests. Thank you. Our prayer and meditation time today will open with a prayer that's inspired by the writing prompts of Stephen Charleston. And after a time of shared silence, we will sing our gentle song for today, number 1053, How Could Anyone? So if you'll join me in a breath as before we pray. If we are all beings with inherent dignity and sacred worth, connected to all things in this sometimes sticky and sometimes tricky web of life, the core identity that we share is one imbued with the oneness of the spirit of life. As individuated streams of that life force, how wonderfully diverse that spirit must be. We awe at every shape and size. We wonder at every tone and color. We awe in every face and body. We stand and wonder at culture and language of every culture and all languages. And we are awed by all beings of every nation, of all ages and genders. When we can stop seeing the Spirit through the keyhole of our comfort, and we witness the grandeur of the seen and unseen Spirit, without limits or definitions, then the image becomes infinite and the Spirit becomes intimate. We do not need to think outside the box because we have no need for the box at all. Our reading today will be presented by Maribel Dana, and she will be reading the words of Julie Steinbach, my new BFF. You don't take a trip like this without getting really close. Yeah.
Good morning. So this is Julie talking, who has been to the Philippines 5 times. I went there one time with her in 2015, so I know who of she's speaking, many of them, and so many more children born since then. So I'll read from the one you have here. Yeah. So Julie says, she's entitled this Calapayan Partnership, Witnessing Results. On this, my 5th visit to the Calapayan congregation, to me, the most stunning moments were during the service when maybe 15 students rose individually in front of the congregation to express their gratitude to Monte Vista. Each one had written a full statement about how much they valued education and our support in that, written in good English and read from their phones. Except for the 2 youngest granddaughters of Reverend Samuel Hino, Eamon and Evan Gasita, ages 3 and 5, who had no phones, but they'd memorized their clear English words of thanks to us all. Their mother, Eliza, reminded me of her mother, the minister's late wife, Emily Hino, in her organizational skills and graciousness and sparkling humor. She passed a couple of years ago, and I did meet her. Another gift of perspective was meeting a clear student leader, 16-year-old Clarice Caparita, quite grown up from the 3-year-old then only child of Rosalinda and Dante Caparita. I remember from our first trip in 2010. Now the children total 4, and always memorably entertaining dad, Dante, still jokes about his 1 year of education. Half of 1st grade, half of 2nd grade. Meanwhile, his firstborn, Clarice, bore a major mission in meeting us the next day at a beach party. She brought the older Apple MacBook from the winter Balikbayan boxes sent, needing just a bit of assistance to be able to use. Bright and articulate, Clarice clearly will make her way well. During the Sunday service, significant growth was also demonstrated by the 2 youth who had already demonstrated leadership by our last visit in 2015, Donnie Boy Hino and Margie Diacosa. Now both college students and in their late 20s, each is professionally employed at a distance from Calapayan. Donnie Boy as a city engineer in Bayawan City, 2 hours by motorbike. Margie as a digital creator in Dumaguete, 4 hours by bus. Their remote residences are the more impressive because of their commitment to the congregation. Each comes at least once a month to work with the children and congregational issues, including they're both contributing financially to the chapel refurbishing after the last typhoon damage. The 2 of them underwrote the new tiles covering the front half of the chapel floor. Donnie Boy had told me last time, my goal is to bring my community out of poverty. A young man with a clear vision. Near the end of our time together, Donnie Boy told us his next savings plans. In 3 to 5 years, I want to come visit Monte Vista. All of which is to say, my main takeaway from this visit, after carrying the main passport portion of Monte Vista's partnership since 2010, besides the sumptuous feastings together, the fun of the coconut juice for us long-nosed ones, The Balak-Bayon distribution excitement and all the play, hugs and photos. My strongest memory comes from the end of that Sunday morning service, the overwhelming felt sense in the lives of these 15 families living such different lives and sharing our same UU principles, we are really making a difference. Thank you.
With the best of intentions and every desire to tell you everything that happened on the trip. I was about 3 days into my jet lag recovery when I realized this isn't jet lag. So I've been on medication for the second half of the week, just finished that regimen. So I'm still a little wobbly and a little digitized, if you can imagine. Georgia's been a great caretaker for me this week. So our message will be short and stocky. How's that? Jaryus, if you could put up the image I sent you. There it is. Does that look familiar to anybody? No? Artist Brian Andreas creates one-image cartoons that he calls story people. They tickle the soul and they say a great deal that is true. Then this one, serendipitously, did I say that right? Yes, I did. Resurfaced this week in my online feed, and it reads, it's hard for you to see. It says, there are things you do because they feel right, and they make no sense, and they make no money. And that may be the real reason we're here. To love each other, to eat each other's good cooking, and to say that it is good. And while these goals were not among the list of reasons that I committed to visit our partnership congregation in the Philippines with Julie Steinbach, they are the precious gifts granted on this cross-cultural adventure. And aren't they pretty incredible takeaways? Jim Craig, Julie Steinbach, and I boarded the Philippine Airlines jet at LAX on Sunday, July 16th. And I landed back home again just over 1 week ago on Friday, the 28th. Jim continued on to visit his son Jeremy and his wife Ange in Singapore. And Julie, well, Julie's scheduled to arrive home to Pilgrim Place sometime near the end of September, after many more stops along her way. But when she does return, we are going to work together to create a Sunday service dedicated to the future of our partnership with the Kalapayan congregation. But for today, we celebrate that journey that we took, and we open the gifts that this incredible opportunity gave to Jim, to Julie, and to me. And some of those gifts were as simple as the 3 listed on the Story People slide. We loved each other. We ate incredible meals together, some home cooked. And many, many times we said, this is good. Mabuhay. I began to create a timeline of our journey for today's message, but I realized that what I really needed more time to sift through all the pictures and the memories and the most important treasures that they each hold. I do have pictures of each of the 15 families, but I left them in my office. I'll run and get them as soon as we finish and share them with everybody. And we'll have those here in the future as well. But what I decided to share instead is what I'll call a California-style golden nugget takeaway. And it came as a surprise in a conversation that the three of us had at the end of our time together as we were all preparing to head in 3 separate directions. Julie opened our debriefing with 2 questions. What were your expectations, and where are they now? Brilliant. So I sat there because I couldn't answer right away. I didn't want to waste my answer. And Jim and I both agreed that neither of us had any expectations that were left unmet. We went in wide open and ready to learn and ready to be changed. But my answer to the where are they now half of the question is what has surprised me a bit. And it wasn't coming from the place of my most difficult hurdle. I realized how many of the smallest details of my life are things that I take for granted. I said I went with no expectations, but I found out that actually I expected a lot. I expected to be able to draw out pesos from the ATM. Come on, I do this all the time. No. I expected more downtime for processing, but show of hands of anyone who's traveled with Julie. Maribel, I see her hand going, no. I expected to have a quiet place to retreat to. I think my inner introvert is still feeling a little rejected, but I expected to see foods that I prefer to eat. More veggies. Definitely need more veggies. And a lot less meat. But I expected, this is going to make me cry. And it should. I expected to have clean water. I expected to be able to hear a language I understood. I expected to embrace the poor, pure, precious culture of these beautiful people that are our partners. Ours, just ours. They're all just for us. But let me tell you, I am still floored. And it's going to take me a bit of time before I can say all that I need to say about this trip. But I saw myself in a new way there, and I am so deeply grateful that I went. But not for that bug I brought home. I used all I had to bring me to the top of that mountain. It took me an hour and a half to navigate. They said, before we went, oh, it'll be a 45-minute. Straight up, in the mud, in the humidity. But 4 families in our partners' congregation go up and down that mountain every day, sometimes twice, to go to work and school. I'm glad I did it. I stopped Julie at one point. I said, this is my Camino. It was. Because we have no clue what it is to be poor. To live in a third world country, to live every day in relationship with and at the mercy of what the earth under your feet provides you, and to yet have so much love and so little entitlement and such wide open hearts. and such celebration for the sacred that is in every bit of life. We are so fortunate to have these beautiful teachers as our partners. And as we move forward in our partnership together, becoming more aware of the gifts that it has for us, as we lay aside the mindset that we are helping them, that it's an imbalance, it probably tips the other way. May we let that connection root a bit deeper into our identity and not limit ourselves to being a congregation in Southern California that has a partnership committee, but to hold hands across the Pacific and see ourselves, oh, Monte Vista, they are a partnership congregation. And I knew I was going to want to get up here and want to say more and more and more. But for now, as our beloved partners keep whispering in my ear to encourage me up the mountain, kept saying to me, how much further? I don't think I can do it. This is hard. I'm old. It's muddy. There's a typhoon. I can't do it. Yes, you can. Keep going. We're almost there. Keep going. We're almost there. There's lots more to come. And I'm going to sneak away kind of early today. I don't really like to do that. I love to visit with all of you when we're together, but I don't want to take a couple steps back in my health care after being on the medication. So George is here to police me out the door, so I will rest this afternoon. But I do look forward to sharing so much of this. I'm still digesting it, as you can imagine. I shouldn't say digesting. If you would come up and extinguish our chalice. Everyone on the back of your order of service, or near the very end of it, unless Jaryus has the words, we'll have the benediction. We'll all offer that to each other as we extinguish the chalice. We leave this gathered community, but not our connection or our sense of belonging. Our hearts carry outgoing concern for each other, for our faith, and for the world. So until we are together again, friends, be strong, be loved, be true, be well, and be kind. So let's continue this conversation over refreshments on the patio after the service.